So I went on Reddit and asked the community for their hottest takes on Blue Lock. This post got a lot of different takes, and I'm glad to share some of these takes as Blue Lock continues to move forward into the NEL with Ubers versus Munchen. The first take I got was that Bachra could have had his whole I'm in Blue Lock to find people to play with arc without a schizophrenic smoke monster, and there would be zero quality loss in the series. I don't really know about this one because Bachra's monster's personality is a big part of his story. His monster was there more than anyone else was, and it allowed him to continue playing football despite not having friends. Also, I wouldn't technically count Bachra as schizophrenic, as his behavior seems a little bit different than what schizophrenia is. This is still a hot take nonetheless, because could you imagine Bachra without his monster? I don't think he could become the player he is without that tragic backstory leading to his monster's arrival and departure. The next hot take is that the best part of Blue Lock was how unforgiving it was early in the manga. Anyone could get cut. Now it feels way too obvious who the main characters are and who's a side piece, and that's only exaggerated with the likes of Iori realizing their life's mission as to support their beautiful egocentric kings. Now this one I'm iffy on because at the beginning of Blue Lock it felt more like a death match because losing meant getting sent home, but now that the story is where it's at now, it's to get to know who the best characters are, to become a striker while the rest follow another path in different positions. Even now, we're still going to see side characters get their chance to sign soon enough, just like how Iori, Raichi, and Kurna are now playing for Munchen, and also how Kyo Jin will be playing in the next match. There's just no way Blue Lock could stay that way, as Ego had to jumpstart his plans early to play the under 20 team. Now he's fully preparing for the last 35 players of Blue Lock to get ready for the under 20, and only 23 of them will join the roster, cutting 12 more players. The NEL is a way to now showcase the value of the players and see if they can use their skills to get picked up by a team before the World Cup ends. The Blue Lock we knew in the beginning won't be happening anymore. At first it was Blue Lock members going against each other, and soon enough it will be Japan versus the world. Next we have that reading Blue Lock weekly is way more unhyped than to read a full match at once. I can see this take for sure, as sometimes the chapters of a game can get stale and it can be fun to read a whole game on its own, but that's just how it is with sports animes. I was getting a little bored with this Ubers match because it was showcasing more storytelling than actual gameplay, which the Manshine match was good at showcasing both. But now the game is almost over, and we are at the best part of the match currently, since the beginning of the match when Asagi scored the first goal. Everyone is different and have their own way of reading it, but once the PXG game starts, you aren't going to want to miss this one. Another extremely hot take. There's a high chance that Rio and Nagi will not end up together at the end of the manga. He says this is a joke, but realistically, what do you guys think about this? Nagi and Rio's dream is to win the World Cup. Who knows what Manshine are doing currently in the NEL, and if Nagi and Rio can excel together like they did against Munchen. We will see how Nagi's talent holds in the future, because I have no concern for Rio, as he is one of the most complete players in Blue Lock currently and could possibly even surpass Nagi in the future based off of what Nagi does. I don't see these two breaking up again, as they have already did that once and came back together to be the best in the world once again. This time when everyone links back up for Japan, everyone will be different once the NL is over. They've all experienced world class games now and will know what to do when the World Cup arrives. Now this guy emptied the clip for hot takes, as he has 3 very good takes in my opinion. First, he says that Rio and Nagi are some of the most boring and unexciting characters in Blue Lock, and this duo is carried by Rio. I completely disagree with this one honestly, as Nagi is a fan favorite, and if you are not reading the episode Nagi manga, I highly suggest it, as seeing Blue Lock from another character's perspective is amazing, as we get to see their internal thoughts and how they actually feel inside Blue Lock, other than watching it through Asagi's eyes. As for the duo being carried by Rio, what do you guys think about this? Rio's job is to make Nagi the best player in the world, and he needs Nagi just as much as Nagi needs Rio. Levinho is the coolest out of all the team masters. This answer is kind of subjective because everyone has their own opinions on this one for which masters they like the most. Me personally, I think my favorite will be Loki, but as of now, it's probably Levinho in terms of being the coolest, so I respect that one. The last take is that there should be more of a focus on the characters' regular lives. The 2 chapters of the Blue Lock players hanging out or the moments of Asagi and his family are some of my favorite parts of the manga. For this take, I kind of disagree on this one as well, as the 2 chapters we got for the under 20 were very warm and chill, but felt more like a filler and just a down story to get ready for the next arc. It was good to see Asagi go back to his hometown and meet his old friend, and those moments are cool to see. I don't know how much more of it will be cool. We already get a lot of backstories during the game, showcasing players' lives, and I don't want Blue Lock to turn into a massive narration and have less action on the field. The next take is, I don't mind Igagori. He hasn't taken anyone's spot and he has been carried the entire time, but the manager is playing the game, doing the best he can. How can you hate him because of that? Well, as much as Igagori can be liked or disliked, the fact of the matter is, he's trash. The worst player in Blue Lock by far and can only get players in foul trouble. He does always train, so I can give him that, but other than that, he's definitely the most useless character in Blue Lock and just wouldn't survive in a world class game currently. I don't know what the author would do with Iori, as he has had a lot of dialogue on the sideline being shown to us with Iori, so that could hint at something in the future. There's only one more game left in the NEO, and only the top 23 will go on to the World Cup. I don't see Iori making that list or even playing in the PSG match. Imagine having Iori out there going against Shido and Rin. He would get destroyed. The new Ego's arc has been too predictable. Oh man, this is a tough one. I assume by being too predictable, he means the characters that were good in the under 20 are showcasing the same abilities and being able to produce once again. I think we are all misunderstanding the point of the NEO. It is to showcase your value and work on yourself against harder teams to come back stronger for the World Cup. Realistically, the only players who can become a striker are Rin, Shido, Asagi, Barz, Nagi, Bachra, and KiiNGKhyy. There's no one else from Blue Lock that I would consider to be the starting striker with the talent to succeed. That's just how it is, so every other player must focus on how to increase their value in other ways. We have seen players like Nico and Aru become great as defenders. We've seen people like Rio and Karasu take over as midfielders and commanding the team. We've seen Gagamaru become a great goalkeeper in his own right. Also, you could say Moonchen being undefeated throughout the NEL is too predictable as Asagi's on Moonchen. I personally did think Asagi would lose just once and Ubers would be the one he would lose to. But now it looks like Asagi's not going to lose to Ubers, because if he does, he won't be starting in the PSG match, which I know the author is not going to make happen, and then there's no way he loses to Rin 3 times in a row. The World Cup arc should prove more challenging, and who knows, maybe from the PSG match forward, we start to see more unpredictable things to happen. The next take is put Barz in Asagi's position and he wouldn't get a single goal. We have to stop with these comparisons because you could say the same about anyone. I love Asagi and he's been through a lot, but we can't act like other players wouldn't also find a way to command their spot on Moonchen. Look at KiiNGKhyy for example, he did it, and even Yukimiya. Like you could say the same like what if Asagi was at Ubers, would he be able to have the same massive goal rate like Barz? Currently no, he wouldn't. Barz is commanding his team differently than Asagi, and Barz's stats to score are just simply better. They both are doing well in their respective teams, and we just have to see what the future holds. Another take is that Iori's build-up was one of the worst in the whole Blue Lock manga. Do you guys really think that? Now, I've never seen another character get this much build-up in Blue Lock ever before. It was kind of insane how much emphasis they wanted to put Iori into the series for us. It all started with his backstory on chapter 206 that really led us to all of this hype starting to appear. I wouldn't say it's one of the worst yet, as the Ubers match isn't over yet, and we don't know how good his contribution will truly be. This will end up being an interesting convo to see in the future. Characters like Rin, Shido, and Tokimitsu are more compelling characters than Karen and Sagi. This is a flat out no. There's no way you're telling me any of these characters are more compelling than Asagi, especially Tokimitsu, because that was just a completely random name to bring up. As for Rin and Shido, the author is making PXG very mysterious, barely talking about them, so of course currently they're going to get a lot of attention once PXG starts, as we know nothing about how they're doing and even what their matches were like. Asagi has been shown every chapter in the NEO, and his current character is still very compelling and catching the attention of others now that he has Iori on his side. I don't care if this is a hot take or not, too many characters have metavision. It makes the games far less interesting, and when a third of the main cast has the same primary ability. You guys have to stop this with the metavision debate. Metavision was never going to be the end-all ability for Asagi. It was just another stepping stone, and he needs more than that to win. If you have good spatial awareness, you're bound to learn metavision. All the players that have metavision deserve it on their own right, and they all use metavision in different ways. Asagi will need another skill piece to be able to win once the match to get even harder. We just got Predator Vision from Kaiser and Barz for example, and that's just one thing from many more abilities that will eventually come. We should get to see more or at least develop the current rivalries that exclude Asagi like Barz vs Nagi and Rin vs Shido. I completely agree, but when it comes to Nagi, I'm sure most of his rivalry battles will be shown in the episode Nagi spinoff, and as for Rin and Shido, I'm sure most of that will be shown during the PXG match. What I mainly want to see is a little more action of the other games going on. I wish we could actually know more of that because after the Manshine match, we were left with nothing. We have no idea what happened after game 2, and hopefully after Uber's match we get an update. Despite getting shut down by Asagi, Kyoto will still play alongside him as his partner and fit the missing man for Asagi. How do you guys feel about this one? I'm not too sure. I could see Akira either playing for himself or possibly siding with Kaiser, or even giving KiiNGKhyy a chance. I don't see why Kyoto would side with Asagi as Asagi shut him down and we don't know Kyoto's personality and playstyle yet, but he could be the next prodigy that was kept under the rug. If Tokimitsu had an ego, he would be a top 5 to 10 Blue Lock player. I don't really know about this one either. Tokimitsu's ego would surely make him greater than ever before, but hey, PXG is not here yet, so we don't know what Tokimitsu is up to now. We haven't seen him since the 3rd selection, and he could very well have gained some new skills we don't know about. We just have to wait and see on this one. This match versus Ubers is taking too long. I felt this way too, as Uber's match was paced differently than Manshine match and was more of a narrative story than just gameplay. But we are now in the final stages of the match, and this is exciting again since Iori has come into the game. We've seen Brawl turn into arguably the best player in Blue Lock currently, and Asagi scored his first goal in the NEL in this game. A lot of good and bad, but still the most critical point of the NEL arc has yet to come as one more game still precedes us. Well, these are just some of the hot takes that were commented on by the community. I hope you can give some more great debates and arguments in the comments. Let me know how you guys feel about this one, and come check out the Masquerade Discord as well, as we'll be having some awesome competitions and many more soon. Well, I thank you guys for watching the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back in the next one. Peace.